Chapter 12 Magh Shukla Chaturthi Vrata. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Dasharatha said to Vasishta, "The stories about the glory of Chaturthi Vrata are sweeter than nectar. My joy has increased, but I am not yet satisfied. Please narrate the extreme importance of Magh Shukla Chaturthi. It will grant happiness to all." Vasishta said, "O king, it was on the Tithi of Magh Shukla Angarika Chaturthi, which falls on a Tuesday, that Lord Vinayaka incarnated in the house of Maharshi Kashyap." Mudgalacharya narrated to Daksha what sage Vasishta had told Dasharatha about the legend of incarnation of Vinayaka based on the slaying of the demon Devantaka. On listening to this narration, Dasharatha was overjoyed. He respectfully asked the Muni to elaborate on the same. Seeing his inquisitiveness, the profound devotee of Ganesha, Yogi Vasisht, said, "O Dasharatha, O Narottama, I shall recount an ancient legend. Listening to it, you will attain complete fulfillment and happiness. In the province of Karnataka, in a town named Bhanupuri, there lived a king named Soma, who was extremely religious. He served devas, brahmins, and guests. He was valiant and ruled with political wisdom and righteousness. He possessed weapons and astras and was skilled in weaponry. He had conquered the whole world and governed it efficiently. His wife Yashovati was devoted, virtuous, generous, and exceptionally beautiful. After a prolonged period of good administration, there came a period of untold suffering due to a severe drought. He left his capital and approached Shaunak Muni, who was omniscient Ganapatya, who lived in the forest, to find a remedy for the problem. Going into the dense forest, Soma bowed to him, performed Sashtang Namaskar, and joining his palms in reverence and humility, said, "I am blessed by your darshan. My life and karma are blessed." Hearing that, Shaunak, the one who treated all equally, who was well versed in the vital precepts of all Shastras, said, "O eminent king, with what intent have you come to this inaccessible forest? Why are you grieved? Tell me the reason in detail." When the Muni asked thus, King Soma, pleased, said to the one learned in Vedas, "I rule the state of Karnataka with religious righteousness and live in Bhanupuri. Yet my kingdom has been afflicted by drought. My subjects are tormented. We have committed some sins about which we are unaware. O Yogeshwara, tell me a remedy for this grief. I have renounced my kingdom and seek shelter." Hearing these sincere pleas of the king, eminent Muni Shaunak replied to the humble king, "O king, a grave sin has been committed in your kingdom. It's because of these sins that your subjects are suffering from sickness and barrenness. O king, listen. I shall now tell you about the cause of your biggest calamity. In your kingdom, the Shukla and Krishna Chaturthi Vratas have vanished. Therefore, you should strive in every way to observe the Vrata. Else, you will not find peace and happiness even if you struggle for 1,000 years. Therefore, O virtuous one, observe the acclaimed Ganesh Vrata." The king asked the Muni with devotion to elaborate on the Vrata. He said, "O Brahmin, I plead you, please describe the form of Ganesha that grants absolute peace." Shaunaka said, "Once I was engrossed in internal reflection and contemplation on the Supreme Brahma while observing penance in my ashram. Unexpectedly, Mahayogi Bhrigu arrived in my ashram to confer his blessing and grace on me. He was a progenitor of a lineage. Seeing him, I offered pranams. Thereafter, I offered him an asan to sit and performed a puja with devotion. With palms joined in reverence, I stood before him. Seeing me thus, Bhrigumuni asked, 'You have performed yoga and penance with great resolute. Have you attained peace? O fortunate one, tell me, what do you desire? I will grant your wishes. You belong to our clan and are a devout ascetic. Therefore I am happy, so I shall fulfill your desires." When Muni Bhrigu, the foremost rishi and the one accomplished in penance and yoga, asked in this manner, Shaunaka offered obeisance happily and replied, Please impart the knowledge of the path of yoga, which will, by your grace, bestow absolute peace and contentment. Bhrigu preached, Comprehend that Brahmanayaka Ganesha is endowed with yogic peace. You worship him with the prescribed rituals and you will attain peace. Dear son, there are 5 tendencies of the Chitta. Chintamani resides in it. Comprehending him, Brahmadeva and others attained union with the Supreme Divine. Things perceived by the Chitta create enticements. Therefore, by renunciation of the infatuating tendencies of the Chitta, you will become Chintamani. Comprehend that Chitta is Manovanimaya and is also Manovani Vihina, that which can be experienced by mind and expressed in speech, as well as that which cannot be experienced by mind and which cannot be experienced by speech, expressed by speech. By renunciation of both these forms of Chitta, you will become happy. Expounding thus, he initiated Shaunaka into the Ganesh mantra, Gananam Tva, and Bhrigu Muni disappeared. Shaunaka said, O king, following the teachings of Bhrigu, I worshipped Ganesha through the yogic path and strived to restrain my chitta tendencies. By his grace, I became revered by yogis. Yet I continued worshipping Ganesha. Thereafter, Ganesha, the one who loves his devotees, granted me a boon. He elevated me to the status of a Ganapatya. Since then, I became a Ganesha. Saying thus, the eminent Muni Shaunaka learnt in rituals, initiated King Soma into the purifying Ganesh mantra Gananam Tva with proper rituals. After offering pranams to Shaunaka, the king took his permission to leave and return to his home. His ministers happily welcomed him. From the Magh Shukla Chaturthi that followed, he and his ministers observed the Vrata. He popularized the Shukla and Krishna Chaturthi Vrata. As a result, all his subjects also observed the Vrata. Due to merits earned, the kingdom was blessed with abundant rains. His subjects sang bhajans of Ganesha happily. Soma too sang bhajans of Ganesha with love. To please Ganesha, he also constructed a temple dedicated to Ganesha. He installed a precious idol of Ganapati in the temple. The idol was called Varadu Ganesha. He would worship it daily with reverence. The king ruled his kingdom with his sons and grandsons. His subjects also became free of diseases and childlessness and were immersed in joy. They would follow their dharma diligently and worship Gananayaka devotedly. They worshipped only him as the supreme divine with reverence. In the end, King Soma with his subjects ascended to Swanandaloka and paid obeisance and became one with the divine. O king, listen to another sin-destroying, fascinating legend about this Vrata. In the town of Kaundinya, in the province of Vidarbha, there lived a person of the lowest caste. He was a great sinner named Bhanu. He was vile. He committed heinous deeds. He was an adulterer. He was addicted to gambling and alcohol. He was greedy and would waylay travelers, loot and kill them. He committed many such sins. The abominable one would kill Brahmins and was always committing wicked deeds. By a stroke of fate, the lowly sinner was once wandering in the forest. It was the Tithi of Magh Shukla Chaturthi. He wandered in the mountains without food or water. He was unhappy as he had not met any traveler. He was restless from hunger and thirst and spent the night in the forest. At dawn the next day, he hurriedly went home. Being thirsty, he gulped water hastily. O king, he fell ill suddenly and vomited immediately. He died instantly. At that time, a Ganesh Duta arrived and took him to Swanandaloka. He was absolved of all his sins by the darshan of Ganesh. As a result, he attained liberation. O King Dasharatha of the Surya Vamsha, the lowly one was inherently a sinner. However, by merits earned by observing the Vrata unknowingly, he became one with Brahma. The Magh Shukla Chaturthi Vrata confers extraordinary merits on the devotees Its glory is beyond description. Many have attained union with the divine by observing this vrata. How can one describe it in its entirety? Anyone who reads or listens to the greatness of this vrata will be blessed with all siddhis. Thus ends the 12th chapter titled Magh Shukla Chaturthi Vrata in the fourth khanda of the Puran Upanishad, Srimad Mudgal Puran, describing the legends of Gajanana, dedicated to Sri Gajanana. End of chapter 12.